for her to hop on before I get going. Did you hear everything I said, Marjorie, that we're going to do today? Good morning, Betty Joe. Okay, so I'll go over it again. I thought you might have just hopped on. And Betty Joe, I did get your email and your message on the coven, and I am going to, I haven't had time to look yet to see what I have, but I will be looking and getting back to you. I did email you back. I don't know if you got it. All right, everyone. So I'm going to say this again for anyone who's just hopping on. So what I'm going to do is we're first going to talk about the full moon, the super full moon in Cancer, the wolf moon. We're going to talk about that first. And then we are going to do, I have my tarot cards, which usually I don't these days on my lives because I don't want to do individual reading on my lives for people. However, today I want to do a collective prediction for the year in advance, month by month. And I'm going to use my cards to do that. So let's start with the full moon in Cancer. And I just want to say welcome, everyone. If I haven't met you before, I'm Harmony, Mystic Witch. I host women's retreats and I have a witch school, and we still have openings this year for our Samhain Practical Magic Retreat in Sedona, Arizona. So I'm excited about that. I'm going to Salem for a retreat in May. That one's sold out though. So if you haven't followed me, please go follow, click the heart, and all the things. Thank you for being here. I have been an out of the broom closet witch for well over 20 years. Known I'm a witch my whole life. My great-grandmother confirmed that our family's actually bloodline witches before she passed away when I was 15. And I was raised in a religious household knowing I was a witch, left Christianity when I was 28, and I am now 50, and I am a fully embodied, living my entire life as a spell in motion witch, sharing the craft with other witches. So that's just a little bit about me if this is your first time on here. And so we're going to talk about the full moon in Cancer, and we're starting the year with this full moon in Cancer. There's also this alignment with Sirius and Jupiter that I actually have been, I feel like I've been feeling that a lot. So has anyone else been feeling that almost like things, well, let's start with like dreams. Has anybody been having off the chart dreams? Because my dreams have been all over the place this week, and I believe that is part of the full moon, but it's also a part of that Sirius Jupiter energy. And Sirius is a spiritual planet. It's kind of like a spiritual sun. And Jupiter expands everything that's there. Now, Cancer, with the full moon in Cancer, good, Betty Joe, you're journaling them. That's so important right now. For the next 10 days, the Sirius alignment started yesterday. So for the next 10 days, journal your dreams. There is messages coming in. I'm getting chills right now. So this is an important message. We really need to be journaling these dreams, and I'm probably needing to tell myself this because I have been kind of waking up like dreaming things from my teenage years and dreaming things from childhood, and I'm like, what the heck does that mean? Last night I dreamed about the retreats. But until we start journaling those things down, like before you get up to go to the bathroom, before you do anything, like grab your notebook, keep it by your bed, and jot down the most vivid parts of your dream, because after the next 10 days, you should be able to look back and see some sort of pattern of something that's going to be expanding in your life in this next year. Now, the full moon in Cancer, the full moon is so intuitive, so dreamy, so mystical and watery. This full moon, something I haven't seen a lot of of astrologers talking a lot about, but for me, I'm a Cancer sun, so I feel that Cancer energy deeply, and I have a lot of hard Cancer placements in my natal chart, so I kind of focus a lot on that Cancer energy. And the thing about Cancer that I don't see a lot of people talking about is the mother wound, or the connection to the Divine Mother. And I believe there could be a lot of that mother wound energy coming up to be released. You know, when we're under a full moon, it's a great time for manifestation of things that we have been working on, but it is also like the full moon gives us this release energy, and also the energy of exposing shadow. And so many of us have that wound with our mother. I believe part of that wound is connected to the witch wound. And that's part of why I host the retreats I host. It's not because you're gonna come to my retreat and your sister wound and your mother wound is gonna be gone, but it's that us women have to start gathering together in spaces where clear boundaries are created, where it's a healthy space where people honor the others, where we're honoring not just the boundaries of others, but honoring people's sovereignty. And I believe by doing that inner work together as women, we can stop perpetuating this girl wound. It's, been such a theme in my life. I had 4 sisters, no brothers, and mother that, looking back, I'm like, she's leader of the mean girls who thinks she's like princess of love and light and cannot see herself. And I'm a hairdresser. So been a hairdresser since I was 17. So for over 30 years, I've been doing hair with primarily women. I think in that 30 years, I've worked with 2 men. And so in my life, I've definitely seen that shadow of women, but also the mother and the Divine Mother. So let's talk a little bit about that. Is that, for how many thousands of years have we been, even I am catch myself saying like, oh my God, like God is this like primary central, no matter what religion you're in, what energy you're working with, it's like God is always looked at as source, right? And as a witch, we honor source as goddess. So we're honoring the divine feminine aspect of source. Now, I'm not here to tell you, if you call source, if you call it universe, whatever you call it, it doesn't really matter. But the honoring of that and how you see that energy is a big topic on our planet, or it needs to be a bigger topic. So many people are constantly commenting here on TikTok on my feed about like they're appalled that I don't believe in God as a witch. And they're constantly quoting scripture. And, I'm never here to divide people. I don't want you to hate people or feel like you need to proselytize as a witch. I really am about bringing people together, but I also am about exposing Christianity and exposing the patriarchy, because there is a lot of shadow there that people aren't aware of. Now, I'm not for dehumanizing people or separation or anything like that. I really believe as a collective, we need to come together and people need to be allowed to believe whatever they want to believe. The thing about Christianity is it's almost a structure like government, that the two have been intertwined for so long. There needs to be some sort of break and uprooting of that energy, because it is the patriarchal energy. There was a comment I wanted to respond to. I keep saying today. I do not like it when I say You've been seeing ravens in the road lately. 1 raven usually means grief or loss of life, something like that. 2 ravens means love. 3 means connection, coming together with like-minded people. I read The Curse, Mother Night, in a book, and I liked that more than Oh God. I read The Curse, Mother Night. So are you saying curse Mother Night instead of saying oh God, you say curse Mother Night? No, I'm not going to curse Mother Night. I love you, Brie, but maybe I'm not understanding what you're saying. Please explain. So I consider, Mother Night or Queen of Night or Goddess or Divine Mother of all life. That for me is that divine feminine aspect or source energy. Now, I'm not here to say I know source looks like a human, has human qualities, but I do believe source has a divine feminine and masculine aspect to it, whatever that energy of source is. And so I, at this point in my life, am honoring the divine feminine aspect of source as a witch and honoring the goddess and working with the female deities because, these deities in the craft, they are guiding humanity in a way. All of these years, deities, the stories, the mythology was meant to control people. Oh, I see. Like when you're upset, you would say, oh God, instead of that, say Mother Night. Yes, I like that, Brie. I like that. Usually I say, oh my goddess, but I do just out of long-term habit from my whole life. And also we as humans, we say things other people say around us. Even if we're not trying to, it's we kind of just do that. I don't know why that is. But what was I talking about? I'm truly intrigued. I find your energy amazing. Thank you. You say, oh my goddess too? Yeah, oh my goddess is usually my go-to, but every now and then I say, oh my God, and I'm like, But it just shows how programmed we are, right? As a collective, we are programmed. And right now, holy cats. I like that one. Again, I just said, why do I keep saying, I think I've been talking myself out the wazoo this week because I've been working on a new course about the 3 cauldrons. And so I've been talking a lot into this camera this week with nobody else here. And it's like, okay, what's next? And yes. Anyway, so in its oldest form, witchcraft is goddess worship. And there is this with the full moon, going back to the full moon in Cancer wraps around that mother energy, that mother archetype. And a lot of us don't know how to work with that energy in a good way. Why is that? It's because of where we have come from as far as humanity goes. I was also trying to create this timeline this week, and I was like, wow, I'm confusing myself here, trying to create this timeline so that I could show people, how humanity has shifted from a matriarchal society to patriarchal over the years and led us to where we're at now. Not that I believe we need to be a primarily matriarchal society, but I do believe we've been so out of balance for so long as far as patriarchy. And even though right now we're in the age of Aquarius, a lot of people are pushing for that energy to shift, right? For community, but shadow is exposed at the beginning, at the bridge of anything. It's like we have to fight through that shadow. And so I believe starting the year with this full moon energy, we really need to release a lot of those wounds around our mother. Our mothers are just people, even if there's boundaries created there. I haven't spoke to my mom in years. And, that's the healthiest thing for me. A lot of people have said to me, oh, I'm so sorry. And it's like, why would you say sorry to me about that? And that's because we have this expectation as humans that you are supposed to honor your parents no matter who they are and how they are to you. And that's just not true. I look at, just because I gave birth to my children does not inherently make me their mother. I could just be the person that gave birth to them, depending on how I treat them and how I work with them as individuals and people. Now, not that we're going to do it perfect, right? But we have to be willing to recognize where we've gone wrong, to see our shadow, to apologize, and to try to be better. And I believe that a lot of people, even in my era, aren't willing to do that. They're still in that mindset of like, the parents know best, and just because you're a crone, you know better than me. And that's not true. It's just not true. And when I say, people will say to me, I'm so sorry you haven't talked to your mom in years, and I'm like, I'm not. I actually am happier and healthier emotionally, and have released myself from so many stresses, and have actually become a better mother to my adult children since cutting those ties. Now, that doesn't mean that's easy. Like, grieving people that are alive is hard, and instinctively we want our parents, right? And so I believe this full moon energy is coming up to help us work through some of that energy, to stop looking at our creator as this masculine god, to see that programming in us. And it's exposed when you start working on yourself. It's like your shadow's exposed to you left and right when you are made aware of something. And I believe the feminine archetype in this next year, in this next age, is a very important archetype. And we need to, in the best of our ability, rise up in our strength, in our light, and be willing to acknowledge shadows, because we're not perfect as women. And so I think the full moon was exposing that, but it also was uprooting emotions that are held deep within you, like the deepest rooted emotions. Intuitive abilities will rise on the other side of this full moon, like really strong, if you are willing to allow the space, the energetic space that has been held by these repressed emotions in your body. If you can allow them, hi She Wolf Tarot, blessed be. If you can allow those energies to uproot and allow yourself to cry. Cancer is water. You need to cry to heal the nervous system. It actually triggers hormones in the body that allow your nervous system to recalibrate and say, I am safe, I am okay. But when you hold back the tears and you push stuff down, you're aligning your nervous system to have more panic attacks, more anxiety attacks, and to be more fearful. So the light of this full moon on the other side of it, if you allow yourself to uproot those things, then there's going to be a stronger feminine energy that you're working with, a stronger connection to source, and your intuitive abilities are going to be off the charts. So the full moon, of course, it always brings up shadow and light. And then I was talking about this energy of Sirius and Jupiter, and how it's working with different countries, or the US in specifically I was looking at. And I've seen in my realm, like there was a lot of stuff within that was like leadership being exposed, corrupt leadership being exposed. So I feel like starting the year with this theme, it kind of means this theme in a small way is going to follow with us into the year. Now, we always start January, not always start January with a full moon, but there's always a full moon in Cancer in January. And so we can start the new year with a new moon, or we can start it with a full moon. And this year, the way it lined up, we start the year with a full moon. Now, the thing about new year energy that's so funny to me, Marjorie, one of the coven priestesses who's my mod on here, she put in our coven chat, happy Muggle New Year, and it made me laugh. It made me giggle because I'm like, it's true. We all celebrate it, and in the essence that it's like Happy New Year and everybody's happy and everybody's like, that's great. And it's great. Everybody's happy. In that essence, I like it. However, like you wake up on New Year's Day and it's like, nothing has changed. And people push themselves to do what is not natural for them at this time of year, which we're supposed to still be inward right now. And right now, the inward journey for humanity is so important. It's so important. So, starting this year with a release, I feel like that's appropriate. And I feel like this year, there's something else that I want to bring up. I have an email going out about this tomorrow because it was something that was brought up in my coven as well. And that's that there was all these people, even astrologers, who are like, yes, I'm so done with Year of the Snake. Bring on Year of the Fire Horse. And it's like, okay, the Year of the Fire Horse does not begin until February 17th. That's when the Lunar New Year starts. Why is everyone saying, like, we're still journeying with the snake right now? We are still shedding our skin. It's almost like we began the year with the full moon because it needed to be a reminder, like, we're still releasing, we're still letting things go. And so I feel like because just 2 days after the new year, we have this full moon, that it is amplifying the energy, which is normally there. Like we start the new year, and I feel like a lot of people have that letdown feeling like, oh, I'm going to start this new routine at the gym and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And they do it for a week or two. Like I used to teach yoga at a gym, and they amp up for that first 3 weeks of January because after that, it just plummets. And I believe that's because people are pushing themselves to do something that's not natural for them. If they would wait and start these things at spring equinox, I believe there would be a better chance of you continuing forward with them than if you're starting them in the middle of winter when we are literally, hi Haley, we are literally like everything in our body, especially if you are a practicing witch, if you're connected to the earth in any way, our bodies naturally mirror everything on this planet. And, we live like completely against that in our everyday life, but witches are very in tune with where the moon is at and also what the earth is doing. And if you are living your life as a witch, meaning every day of your life you're a witch, it's not just something you are on the full moon or when you need to curse someone or you want something brought into your life, then you're going to feel this pull inward right now, even more than the average person that's, say, disconnected mentally and physically from the earth. Because a lot of us are disconnected from our physical bodies. And that a lot of that, I believe, is because of the trauma we have experienced as a collective. It's very sad. A lot of times people look at trauma as things that they would consider big T trauma. Not that I level trauma because, we can't level how people experience trauma. However, people think trauma, when you say trauma, they're thinking SA. And it's not always that. There's many ways that we as a collective experience trauma. And children are experiencing so much trauma. They're just by being raised in this society. And I do believe as a whole, we're getting better. and we're trying to figure it out. But there's still a lot of work. There's still a lot of work we have to do. So we need to be focusing inward right now. We need to be taking care of that part of us that didn't get that start to life that would have made them have a strong foundation. And if we're having children right now, our children are small, let's, instead of beating our children so much and hitting them to get them to do what they want, let's teach them boundaries. Let's teach them safety. Let's teach them what calm and peace look like. And that doesn't mean, ignoring bad behavior in children. It's just the way that we have disciplined children even is so patriarchal that we are all raised with this like inherent violence as the root. And I believe that's why we're seeing so much violence in the collective, is because we start with violence. And I think we just do it because everyone before us has done it. My grandmother, before she passed, talked a lot about that, how she used to smack her kids around, and she's like, why did I do that? She said that to me so many times. And then she would say, because my mother did it to me. Why did she do that to me? And then she would say, because her mother did it to her. And that's the thing, is that as witches right now, and hopefully people as a whole, we're looking back at ancestry to learn and to bring things forward that maybe didn't get passed forward because they were hidden, because the information was not allowed to come forward because you'd be killed for having that kind of information. But then we also need to be exposing the shadows that were in the past and finding a way to change that. Because the church said, spare the rod and spoil the child. Between God, they believe God commanded it. Our world is just a very mixed up place. And, that's why I talk a lot about Christianity, but also I don't want people to feel that I hate Christians because I talk so much about that. But Christianity is why we live the way that we live. It is woven into our society to the point where even if you aren't Christian, you still are living by some of these Christian morals and ethics. And it's so the wolf hidden in the sheep hidden in the wolf in sheep's clothing. Sorry, I don't want to say that backwards. Christianity is the wolf in sheep's clothing. They do have morals and values that sound good, right? I was raised in the Mormon church, and so many people are like, I love the Mormon family values. And it's like, you have not obviously lived in those values, because of course, firsthand, it's like family is forever, family is important, family is everything, and family is important. And family is forever. But when you get in the church, it's like family is forever unless you're not in the Mormon church. Family is forever unless you decide not to go to the temple. Family is forever unless you don't abide by our rules. And it's like, okay, they put these like blanket statements out there that draw people in. And then when people are in, there's this toxicity, this thing you want to live up to. And so this is why we see all of Utah, the most 100, it's like very highly Mormon, not all Mormon there, but so many Mormons there, that you see these families that are literally trying to like create like this, you just see like 6 blonde kids and a blonde mother, and it's like these perfect images of something we'd like paint as perfection the perfect looking child, the perfect looking mother, and all. This is the state that antidepressant use is the highest in. Now, I haven't looked at that in the last year or so, but that was a few years ago. I was looking at that, and the highest antidepressant use was in Utah. And I was like, isn't that interesting, where family values are everything? It's always a wolf in sheep's clothing. We need to learn to be sovereign, and that's a big part of my message as a witch. Is I focus less on spells and stuff of this nature, because I really believe that the archetype of the witch originally had less to do with the actual spells and more to do with divination and mediumship and psychic abilities. And then along with that came these other archetypes. Now, during the witch trials, what happened was that they started using the finger pointing of who is a witch, and that confused humanity on who a witch was, to where the womb healers, the healers in general, the midwives, these people, the herbalist, which everyone was an herbalist before modern medicine, they all became pointed at as the witch, right? To where now we see the witch primarily as a healer. When, if you historically look at who the witches were in our oldest record of a witch, it is biblical, which I hate this, but she was used as an oracle, as a psychic. And so, because all of the information was destroyed, we'll never know for sure. But I am here to tell you, yes, the witch was most likely a healer. They most likely did spells, but they did them different than the everyday average herbalist. And how they did them different, I personally believe this is because they worked more with the baneful herbs than the traditional herbalist did. And I believe 90% of the witch's archetype was the psychic, was the medium, and the oracle. They were prophesying different things. So they were somewhat of a prophet, a seer. And in modern days, because we're using the archetype of the witch as a power play, we have so many people who are like, and I hate to say I'm a green witch and say that's a bad thing, because I use that term sometimes, but it truly is like, there was no green witch before there was Wicca. Wicca kind of came up with that as one of the witch archetypes. There was Gardnerian, Alexandrian, there were Strega. There were these different types of witchcraft in the European area that they pulled a lot of those archetypes into Wicca. And I think they labeled the herbalist as a green witch. And what that did was, I believe it opened the door for what we're seeing in modern days right now, where all herbalists are coming across as witches. And I really encourage you to look at this, because yes, the witches worked with the herbs, and many of them could have been herbalists, but everyone in pagan times worked with herbs. There was no Western modern medicine until way later. So, around the witch wound is when medicine started shifting more in the 18th, 19th century, I think. But I feel like we're mixing up the witch archetypes so much that it's like the witch is someone that does spells to people, because that's what we're seeing on the internet. And there's even witches that have quite large followings that are like out there saying, don't hide behind the fact, don't try to use the fact by saying witches don't believe in the devil, or witches don't worship the devil. She's like, don't do that to say that you're a good witch. And it's like, okay, lady, man, whatever, they, them, whoever you are. I feel like when people make broad statements like that, and I shouldn't have said lady because I do believe it's this person I'm speaking about is not identifies as they, them. So apologize for that. I just really was triggered by this message because this person was saying that there are devil worshiping witches. And it's like, the devil is a Christian mythology, pure and simple. And the only reason we have Christian influence on the craft is because they had to hide. Do not mistake the fact that I say I do not worship the devil and witches do not worship the devil, that I cannot be the most fierce, baneful witch out there. I 100% can if I want to be, right? Any witch can. You don't need the Christian devil to be a baneful witch. There are people identifying as Christian witches. We don't need to do that. And that's my message around this. And this person was saying there are devil worshiping witches, there are Satanist witches. And it's like, okay, then what does the word witch mean to you? Because I really believe in modern days, what we should be bringing back is who the witch really was. Not who was accused of witchcraft. Just because you were accused of witchcraft does not mean you were a witch. And yet that is what happened. And I know nobody wants this message because the messages that are getting all the likes are the power plays. They're like, I'm a devil worshiping witch. And it's like, no. Why are we going to do that? If you're a devil worshiper, you're a devil worshiper. If you're a witch, you're a witch. And that's why a lot of my message is a witch is a witch is a witch. Like in my schools, I share the different types of witches. But if you're really going to label yourself, what my message is, if people can read between the lines, is seeing that a witch is who you are. It's not green, it's not yellow, it's not even Alexandrian, although, I respect these, different types of witchcraft that were brought through the years to try to keep witchcraft alive. Just like Wicca, I respect Wicca, but I also, I take a lot of my foundational teachings from Wiccan teachings. However, I don't 100% agree with it, and I won't be anything that I don't 100% agree with. And a witch is who you are. When you bring in that devil worshiping aspect to the witch, it's like an oxymoron, because you can't be pagan and Christian at the same time, because pagans were very sovereign individuals. Not completely sovereign, but they didn't need a savior. That was completely created, fabricated to control the people. So this, I like to say this when I'm speaking live and not put a post out there, because it's like it takes so many words to get it out there. I can't get the complete message out in a post. But I find it very offensive when I see these witches who are, they're well-intended, but they're like, don't try to make people think you're a good witch by saying witches don't work with the devil. It's like, no, that's not what I'm trying to do by saying I don't work with the devil. What I am trying to solidify in this world of a million voices and illusion and delusion, like, do your history. Look at the history of the witch. And it's sad to say the oldest history we have is biblical. And that was done on purpose because they wanted the witch to end up where we're at right now. And as happy as I am that the witch can be more out of the broom closet, the witch archetype is so confused that everyone is saying they're a witch. And then you see people, I see people all the time who are like, or people will say it to my kids like, "Oh, you're like a legit witch." Well, what other kind of witch is there? People identify the witch with someone that loves crystals as, you know, it's not just loving crystals. It's not just reading tarot. I believe it's something that's in you, and only you know if you're a witch. I can actually, that's one of my abilities, is that I can see the witch in people, that archetype. Now what would make you a witch? I believe that witches are born with this, and they can grow it, right? They can grow these abilities in this life because these abilities are natural to humans, but they're supernatural to some people that are just, they're born with this knowing that things aren't what they're made out to be. And that's one of the biggest things for me, is that I could look around as a child and see like, why are people saying these things that are not true and believing them, like things that don't make sense. And as I grew up, it was like, oh, you get your hormones flowing through your body, and witch, like I know witch as a power play, because like when I got around 8th grade, 9th grade, especially 9th grade, it was all bets were off. I was like, I'm a witch. This is like, it was like the anger in me loved the archetype of the witch. The part of me that was furious for the things that happened to me as a child was like, yeah, I'm a witch and I'm gonna curse you. It wasn't the best way to start, but that's why because I've met that demon that existed within me in high school, I can meet people and go toe to toe with them. I can see them on the internet a mile away, that they're using the witch instead of like learning to actually develop this connection to the earth, the connection to the sky, the planets, the connection to the plants, the connection to self. Until we clear our body of everything that does not serve us, of all the energetic trauma, we will never be quite as powerful as we were meant to be. And I've seen this in myself. And I believe it's gonna take a lifetime for me to clear a lot of the stuff that happened in the first 28 years of my life, because I walked around completely unaware. It was like, I look back and I'm like, wow, like I had no true guidance. I only had voices around me from churches and leaders and parents and people trying to tell me what I was supposed to do to be a good person. And it's I think a lot of us have that. And so our early years and our early 20s are just full of this like pushing back, trying to find who we are. And it's around 28 when we hit our Saturn return in astrology, everything shifts, because all of a sudden you realize I'm my own person. I don't have to believe what everybody told me to believe. And things start to break away. They start to crumble. But as humans, we are like claws in. And that does not serve us. The whole claws in, I'm not going to let go, I'm not going to change, all these concepts, it's like, why would you not want to change? Is it because your ego is so going to be so broken to have to apologize for something, for being wrong? We need to be teaching people it's okay to be wrong, especially right now. Like, we should applaud people who are willing to stand up and say, I was wrong and I want to change. Now, that doesn't mean you don't have to pay the price for what you did before those words. That doesn't mean you should be celebrated for all of the shitty things you've done. It means, well, we all have to start somewhere if we're going to change, right? So, anyway, no, but willing to change. I had a good childhood, but I was forced to go to a Baptist church. I hated it. Yeah. Oh, you were agreeing with me? Thank you. I was like, what does no mean? Why is it when I read tarot, bad things happen around me? Is it because I didn't create a circle? No, it's not because you didn't create a circle. It's because of your programming. Now, I had this happen at Practical Magic Retreat, and I'm going to be very firm in this, is that 90% of the time when people are saying they're inviting in demonic spirits, something doesn't feel bad, doesn't feel right, bad things happen, this is 100% you and your programming and your past trauma being triggered. And because you are coming in triggered by what you are doing, you are then attracting to you, you're projecting the fears that you actually have around reading tarot. You're projecting those fears as bad things are happening because I'm reading tarot. No. The things that we see as bad things happening, a lot of the time, gosh, I can go on a tangent here, because the law of three is actually the law of attraction. And I so hate when people are like, I don't believe in the law of three. Okay, don't call it the law of three, but it's the law of attraction. Whether it's good or bad, you are attracting to you what you are putting out. And if you have not healed your wounds, and I don't mean to sound fierce or uncompassionate to you who's asking this question about tarot, the thing is yes, you have to cast a circle. You should be casting. I always cast a circle before I do readings for other people. However, if you're casting a circle and you still are living by programmed conditioning, then there somewhere in you, you're like, this is evil, this is demonic. Until that is gone, you don't need to be casting a circle. Until that is gone, you don't need to be reading tarot. And that's the issue for, my issue with so many people reading tarot cards and being like, this is a collective reading. People who have never done any healing work. Because likely when you have not done healing work, it's like the wisdom that's coming through is not wisdom. Tarot card reading is so much more than knowing the meaning behind a card. It is activating your intuition. Part of it is knowledge and knowing what the author of the tarot actually meant. Because when there's a historic meaning around something like the pentacle, it doesn't matter you can give it the meaning you want, but there's always going to carry, especially when it's been so widely used, the energy around that symbol. You just make that symbol and the energy is there, right? Tarot cards have been duplicated so many times and used so many times. There is an energetic meaning to every card you pull, but also that card you pull is awakening your psyche. It is awakening your unconscious mind, and that's where the messages come through. So if the unconscious mind is full of wounds, then what you are going to be sharing with people is not accurate. And that's why I just won't let anyone read for me. I won't just let anyone read, because the projections that they can put out there on people, and people are accepting them because they paid for this reading, right? You need to make sure that you 100% trust that person, that they are doing the work. I hope this makes sense, because at our retreat, we we do Ouija boards and we talk about the Ouija boards, and I tell people there is a lot of conditioning and programming around the Ouija board. If you go look at my last post where we're reading the Ouija board, people are like, oh, you're putting this out there for attention. No, I am putting this out there so we can expose the programming. And that's exactly what's exposed. If you go read all the comments, there are so many people that are like, you're opening doorways to hell. You're doing like you're inviting demons. You don't know what you're doing. And it's like, okay, the Ouija board is a divination tool. It is a divination tool. Does that board that you bought at Walmart, does it actually hold demons? No. That board is a board. You are the medium. The conditioning around the Ouija board is disempowering you. All humans have the ability to do mediumship work. We use the Ouija board to help us do that divination work. If you do it, of course, if you go into doing any divination work and you start calling spirits in, you're gonna call in multitude of different spirits and energies. But when you're working with me, I cast a circle, the group casts a circle. So not only are we casting a circle at the beginning of that retreat, and we actually had someone leave in the middle of the retreat. Her son had an accident. She had to leave. We reinforced that circle after she left. I am very in integrity with my craft. And then we cast another circle, reinforcing that circle again before we did the Ouija board. And then I had someone go home and message me and say, I think you opened a portal there and you didn't close it. I promise you. We closed it that night. We closed the circle we opened, and then after the retreat, we closed the circle with the women, and then the facilitators closed the circle again before we leave the property. So this person was accusing me because some other witch out there told them that she was afraid of Ouija boards and that they invoke demonic spirits, and that I guess she took all these spirits home with her, is what she said. And I'm like, that is a complete projection of her fears and a spiritual bypass. People who are saying things like that are empowering you not to do the work. We've got to acknowledge the demons within us. I can't tell you how much dark shit I invoked when I was in high school, not knowing it and also attracting it to me because I had so much wounding held within me. I was afraid to sleep in the dark. I was afraid of spirits. It's like it, and most people are, because of the programming. And the only way you are going to get rid of that programming is by working with your shadow. So it's not the Ouija board that is evil. And if you feel like you worked with the Ouija board and you attracted spirits to you, do you realize that you have the power within you to cast them out? And the way that you can best protect yourself in any situation is by doing shadow work. Because I know at the point I'm at in my practice, I don't have to cast a circle every time I read for myself the tarot cards, right? I don't have to. But I do a lot of the time. I do 100% of the time when I do readings for other people. Because I don't know their energy. And when I'm working with other people, I don't want to invite anything into their energy or my energy due to their projections. So once you become where you've done so much shadow work, you know when you're in a place where I need to cast a circle and then do the reading. But I can tell you, when I cast a circle before I do my tarot card readings, they are at a higher level. They're more on point. So there is a reason we're casting a circle, especially the way I cast a circle. It's not just for protection. It's invoking the elements. It's invoking deities. So, you know, I could draw on a piece of paper a Ouija board and invite the spirits in and use the paper as a Ouija board. It's going to do the same thing because you're inviting spirits in. It doesn't matter if it's an actual Ouija board or a spirit board. And if you protect yourself appropriately, you're not going to attract anything in that is negative. If you are doing your shadow work, you are in a line. And if you are in the depths of a dark night of the soul, you're also going to know now is not the time for me to be doing this type of divination because I'm unstable right now. Maybe I'm grieving. Maybe I'm having family hardship. Whatever it is, like only you know you. But we are disempowering people by telling them the Ouija board is evil. Now, I'm not telling people not to read tarot or not to read oracle cards. What I am saying is that if you believe every time you read them, something bad happens, that's because you have not yet to meet that shadow within you. And so you're projecting it outside of you. I do believe, because when you're working with the tarot, you're working more with the way tarot works is all of us have an energy field, right? There's like this egg-shaped energy field around us. Some of us call it an auric field. We call it in witchcraft, like the energy that's in this field around you is called miasma. And this energy around you in this field, if you have a lot of wounding inside, it's very holy around you. Holy meaning like holes, gaps in it, and it's not solid. So when you're solid, there is almost a light that reverberates from your body around you. Now when there's a lot of wounding, the light isn't protecting you like it is created to do. It absorbs from the outside in all of the wounds, all of the energetic wounds people are walking around with that energetically match yours. And so you're constantly filling this energetic field with other people's junk, right? So when we cast a circle, I often tell people to do an energetic clearing daily, like taking a deep breath and sweeping it out. We have the power, all of us. You don't need me to do it for you. We have the power. Even if you're deeply wounded, you have the power. You are a sovereign being. It is old conditioning from Christianity, from different religious traditions that make us think we have to turn to someone else. We have to call a priest to clear energy. No, you don't need to call a priest to clear energy. You don't need to call a Native American or a witch to come clear your house of negative energy. You have the power to do this as a human. You are as sovereign as the priest. You are as sovereign as the medicine person. You just need to have the knowing of how to do these things, how to work with the plant spirits, how to work with the smoke, how to work with the water. And if you don't have that, then you may need to call someone in to assist you. But something that the church has, and our foundation of these patriarchal belief systems and the witch wound as a pandemic across our planet, a mental pandemic, we're still carrying those wounds. And so we attract into our energetic field and into our house matching wounds. So what you are seeing is bad things happening to you. They're not bad things happening to you. Of course, some of them we can see as bad things from our human perspective, but maybe our soul planned for that to have happen. Yeah, we don't look at it as a positive thing when someone passes from a car accident suddenly, or we lose a child. But there always is a, from the soul aspect, we're learning something from that. From our human aspect self, we're going to be like, that sucks, that's a bad thing. Did your tarot card reading cause that? No. Did the Ouija board cause that? No. Those major life things, like when we pass, when we were born, those are soul decisions that are sovereign, and nothing you do on this human planet is going to change that. Now, we also have karmic agreements, for lack of a better word. We can call them a past life, things we didn't work out in past life, agreements we made to come into this life and work with people. And so, constantly, something I can say I was projecting in my field for a very long time, up until I created boundaries with my mother, and even after I created those boundaries with my mother, I still attracted this for a little while, but I was constantly attracting female relationships that would fall apart. And the pattern that I had there, and I would be like, why does this keep happening to me? Why can't I have good girlfriends? And it was because I was perpetuating that same, like, I'll do whatever you need to be. I'll serve you in every way. I give my whole heart and soul to someone, and they just take. And then they become jealous, and they have these negative actions. It's like the same pattern. My kids could see it. My husband could see it. It's like, this is your mom in every single relationship. Once I realized it, cut ties with my mom, it still showed up in a few other relationships, because the universe, the energy needed to see, are you really done with this? Can you really make boundaries with people that cross your boundaries? And the answer was yes, because I started changing things that I was doing in my life, changing things that I really didn't want to let go of. It was like, I love this thing I'm doing, but I'm doing it with this person that is projecting on me constantly. And it was like, I can keep doing and loving and being, and it's never going to be enough to wipe out that negativity that that person had towards me. So I had to create the boundaries there. And now it seems like I've stopped. It's stopped finally. So we can be the victim to those things that we say, like, bad things happen, or we can look at them as an opportunity to heal, because it's either an opportunity to heal, or it was the soul's sovereign choice of that individual that the bad thing came through to have happen for whatever reason, whether it be their sovereign choice to exit the planet, to enter the planet, to, I do believe, like, who we're born, the families we're born into are pre-chosen. There are those things that are predestined, but then everything we do in between is our soul learning from those human interactions, because this is a free will planet. Okay, so I went off on a tangent there because of the question around tarot cards, but I feel like it all pulled together. Is this helpful? Is there anything you guys want to talk about? I'm really feeling like possibly casting the circle today a little bit early, and then doing the yearly prediction after I cast the circle. How do you guys feel about that? Or do you want me to do the reading right now and then cast the circle later? So we talked about the wolf moon at the beginning. Oh, thank you, Haley. I'm glad that was helpful for you. I know things are not easy for you right now, but things are going to pick up. They're going to speed up, and as much as I know a lot of people get aggravated because it's like, are we in a 10-year or are we in a 1 year? And why are people talking about it being both a 10-year and a 1 year? And it really holds both energies depending on what you work with. The reason that I don't deduce it to one, which I do deduce it to a 1 year, but because I work with the tarot, I look at what the 10 card represents in the tarot, and I don't want to miss the opportunity and the learning and the growth from that information, which is the wheel of the year, which is fated things happening, change, fast forward movement, and really choosing the life that you want to have. And when I really believe the astrology starts to change at the end of January, and there's going to be a lot of planets moving into Aries, a lot of zodiac signs moving into Aries. And what that's going to do is that's going to pick up the speed of the energy at the end of the month. And I believe even Aries goes into Neptune, which that feels really different for me. But there's going to be a lot of forward movement, not only because it's year of the horse, at the fire horse at the Lunar New Year begins that on February 17th, but at the end of January, I believe we're all going to start feeling that shift to more fire. And then when that Lunar New Year hits February 17th, that's when the energy is really going to pick up. And that's just from what I've looked at astrologically, but I'm also not an astrologer. But if you look at the wheel of the year and then you look at the one card as the magician, it's like there's a lot of fated things coming in, but there's also this opportunity for you to create, you know, to alchemize things. The magician, its shadow can be illusion and delusion, so still watch out for that, but it's endings and new beginnings. So whether you call it a 10-year or 1 year, the 10 means it's an exalted, like it's a 2-digit number. So it would be more exalted. But a lot of people are looking at it as a 1 because you always deduce the 2 digits. If you are into tarot, look at that 10 number because it represents the wheel, or not the wheel of the year, the wheel of fortune. Sorry if I was saying the wheel of year. Anyway, so the wolf moon, I mean, we already talked about that at the beginning. I believe they call the wolf moon this time of year because in the dead of winter and in the northern hemisphere is where we're at, and where the wolves lived in the middle of the night on the full moon, you would hear that solitary wolf howling into the night. I mean, I was thinking about that energy last night, and it carries so many different frequencies with it. And I love the full moon because of that imagery. There's like a million different reasons, not a million, but a lot of different reasons the wolf howls into the night. And the wolf is howling into the night, longing for nutrients, longing for food. The howl into the night is calling to the other wolves out there to say, hey, I am out here. Howl back to me so I know I'm not alone. And I believe there's that energy present with this wolf moon. If you are tuned into the earth, if you are not tuned into the earth, you're not going to be able to feel the frequency of that howling into the night. Like I'm hearing it right now. Spirit's echoing it in my ears, and I'm getting chills up my arms because of it. There is that, like, close your eyes right now if you're, listening and you're in a space where you can close your eyes and envision snow everywhere, because this is what Spirit's showing me. And there are trees like bones of bodies that have lost all of their leaves, filling the forest. And I can see like ice in the distance, like a frozen over lake. And I'm the wolf. Or so imagine yourself as the wolf, and you look up at the sky, and there's this moon that is casting light, and you're looking around as the wolf, and you're looking for food. And a bad day for the rabbit because it would lose its life to the wolf is a good day for the wolf because it found food. But under this full moon, it's looking around, and there is nothing but snow and shadows of bones of the trees that once had leaves. So this is the shadows of your ancestors that are being cast right now. And the wolf is looking around within the shadows. See if find, yes. Thank you, Margie. The wolf is looking around to see, is there food? Where is my pack? They're hungry. Food is sparse in the winter. And we can look at that as a human, metaphorically, as the knowledge and the wisdom is sparse because humanity is not living in alignment with itself. And so the wolf is the energy of I would call them the king, equivalent to like I hate to say a king and a high priest and a high priestess. They have moved from the energy of Coyote. Coyote is the trickster, the way we trick ourselves. And if you come to the wolf energy, if you come to this full moon, you come to the wolf and you say, I want to run with the wolves, but you haven't yet met yourself with your own wounds, then you need to be thrown back to the Coyote, because the Coyote is going to show you where you trick yourself, where you look at the cards and you project and point your fingers outward and say, this is you. You invoked demons when you read the Ouija board, instead of looking at the wounds that exist within you. Humanity wants to keep you disempowered. They don't realize that's what they're doing. They're just doing what the church told them to do. But the wolf is beyond the medicine of the church. The wolf howls into the dark night sky, longing for food, longing for that nutrients, longing to see what's hidden within the shadows that are being exposed from those trees that represent the bones of our ancestors. And so the wolf howls into the night. Can you hear that high pitched? It gives you the, ooh, like, what does that mean? It means that wolf is alone. He's like, please call back to me. So many of us witches, I feel like, experience that. So many people see my posts of our retreats and our retreat coven, and they're like, is there anybody here where I live that has a coven? And it's rare. It's rare to find the coven that you see us creating in our retreats, and that's why I created it in the retreats. And so the wolf, for me, I really feel that part of myself in January at the wolf full moon, that I am that wolf crying out to the universe, to the moon, saying, where are you, witches? Where is my pack? Where is my coven? Where are you? And we have to be willing to go out there and look for our coven. We have to be willing to howl into the night. We have to be willing to go to the retreat. I'm not the only one holding these types of retreats out there. I know there's other people holding retreats out there. It's the retreat of the coven of your dreams is not going to come to you, because there's still so many of us in the broom closet. So during this wolf full moon, like, what are you howling for into the night? And whatever that is, like, bring your hands to your heart and say, I accept, I receive the sounds reverberating back to me from the other wolves or the other witches out there. So this means go take the opportunities for whatever it is you want to be or want to do in your life. But that wolf is also crying because of the ache in his heart, the hope that the sun will rise again and he'll run with his pack on a warm, sunny day when there's water and the lake isn't frozen over. It seems like there is no hope for our ancestors during this time of year. And I believe we, over the last 5 years, that humanity has come to that point again and again where they feel like they're the wolf out there in the night, howling, like feeling this incredible ache, because it's like we can look around and see that everything is fucked. But honestly, like, it has to break apart to be rebuilt. We can't rebuild something that is broken, that is covered in mold, that is rooted in patriarchy. And so as hard as it is to see everything fall, we have to allow it to break apart so we can rebuild. And we have to take those opportunities to do the things that push us out of our comfort zone, because the only thing we can do right now, if you look too far outward, you're going to feel like you are alone and there is no hope. But there is hope. When you come back to yourself, you return to center, and you realize you're the wolf, or you're the witch. You're the witch. Then that's when things start to shift. Christina, I'm glad you joined the coven. There is a library of classes in there, but I believe, Christina, you really need to join Practical Magic, because you need to learn casting a circle. The shadow work we don't do until Way of the Witch program, and I believe you need a lot of shadow work so that you can, start reading tarot without feeling like, without projecting all of your deep-rooted insecurities and fears. But the wolf moon, it represents a lot of things, but for our ancestors at this time of year, there was a lot of loss of hope. And I think in a way that wolf is crying out of hunger for more life, but it's also like calling out to its pack. So it's like this beautiful sadness, this beautiful cry, this hope crying out into the night from the leader, right? Not from the coyote, but from the wolf in the dead of winter. It really is beautiful. And I think feeling into that, like allowing yourself to go into that Cancer energy that just feels everything. All you have to do is close your eyes and see that visual I just gave you, and see what Spirit is telling you. Yes, we're excited to have you in the coven, Christina. All right, so do we want to cast the circle, then do the yearly card reading? If you guys haven't followed me, please go follow me, like my live, go check out all my videos, check out the Practical Magic retreat that still has space left. Cast the circle. All right, so we're gonna cast the circle. Keep hearting the live, because we haven't hit 100K likes yet, and we've got to hit 100K likes. So tap, tap, tap away. I'm going to get a drink. I'm going to turn my binaural beats up. Find a place where you will be undisturbed. Find a place where it's quiet, where you can either sit up straight, so your sit bones to your crown must be in a perfect align, lying down or sitting up, no curling in like this. Palms are going to be open. You're going to be lying with your channel open or sitting with your channel open. I have my legs crossed right now. Do not cross your legs or your arms, because that blocks your energy. If you want to receive this circle of empowerment and protection, I invite you to say, yes, I accept, I claim, thank you, I receive, whatever you want in the chat. Say that, or say it out loud. Hi, kitty. Or if you just want to watch because you're curious what a circle casting looks like, then you are more than welcome just to watch. It's like a guided meditation. I'm going to be invoking the presence of 8 different deities. Hello, I did not see you coming. I'm going to be invoking the presence of these deities. I see some of them as actual living people. I see deities also as archetype images of energies that exist within us. We call those energies forth along with the energies of the elements earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. And we lift the circle up to the 7th and 8th plane of consciousness, so that over the next waking hours that you are in this different plane of consciousness where divine miracles and knowing take place. And because you're in this place, I also at the end of this circle cast it in a way that for everyone that accepted it, the circle will be closed. It'll be the circle will be open, but it'll not be broken. And so what that means is that the information will integrate into you over the next week until the circle completely dissipates from your energy. So he's protecting me. Oh, are you protecting me? So you guys can't see this, but he got off my lap and he's sitting here on my chair now, right next to me. He's like staring me right in my eyes. My little protector. Where's Salem, huh? You guys were chasing each other earlier. He loves to scratch on my witch hat, huh? You want to touch it? Look at this. Can you guys see that? My hat is his favorite scratching post. It's like, let me take that hat. And you hear him purring. Yes. Okay, so we're going to cast this circle after the circle's cast. Kitty. After the circle's cast, we're going to do the the predictions for the year ahead, month to month. So I'm going to actually have to move this chair away because you can't attack my hat, mister. Here, you sit and talk to people online. Is that too loud? No? Does it need to be louder? Or is it good? Okay, we'll just leave it right where it is. Thank you. The purring is so soothing. All right, kitty. You're gonna have to come sit right here because I'm gonna cast the circle. All right. Looks like is that my camera being fuzzy? No, it's just light. I feel like I look blurry today for some reason. All right. I love it. Well, he's sitting here on the chair next to me, not on top like he was. All right, so if you're ready to be a part of this circle casting, you stop scrolling because you've seen the cat. Kitty, you're famous. So again, if you're just hopping on, we're gonna cast a circle. If you're gonna do this with me, type in the chat, I accept, I receive, I claim this. Circle of protection and empowerment. And it's probably going to take about 15 minutes. Works like a guided meditation. I'm going to ask you to repeat when I say bless us as we call your name. I'll say the deity's name, Hecate, and then I'll repeat it 3 times, and I invite you to repeat it aloud with me. So you'd say Hecate, 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 and what that does is reinforce in your energy field that you are inviting that deity in. And other than that, I just invite you to close your eyes, allow visuals to come in. There's sometimes visuals, sometimes no visuals, sometimes there is a hearing or a knowing or a sensing. All of these things are very normal. And I need to block this person. Thank you, Marjorie. She actually needs to be blocked. She's all over I thought I blocked her. She's actually all over my post. If she comes on again, please block her because she's all over my post saying God forbid all the time. Anyway, let us begin. So just closing your eyes wherever you're at. And I want you to open your palms Unless you're feeling ungrounded or unsettled and the full moon energy has you a little stressed, if that's the case, then place your palms down. But close your eyes and soften your body. Actually, let's tighten and tense everything before we begin. So what I want you to do is curl your toes in. I want you to flex your feet, keeping your toes curled, your feet flexed. Squeeze your shins, squeeze your thighs, squeeze your glutes, so everything from the bottom up is squeezing. Squeeze your pelvis, squeeze your belly. You're holding everything's getting tense and tight. Squeeze your heart, your back, squeeze your shoulders in, squeeze your elbows into your body, make fists with your hands. Now tip your chin in. You're gonna scrunch up your face and make the ugliest face you can make. Just like squeeze everything from your toes to your head. Hold this, hold this, hold this. Now take a deep breath in through your nose. And exhale, let it all go. And just let everything go with that exhale. Push all the air out, soften every part of your body. So it's a really good way of getting the tension out of your body. It's great to do at the end of the day, great to do anytime you feel a sense of overwhelm, because when we're in that state, sometimes we can't release or let go unless we actively tighten up, and then we realize how much we were holding when we let go. So continue those deep breaths, taking a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Let's do that again, in through the nose. Fill the whole body up with the breath. Open your mouth, audibly exhale this time. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. One final time. Sealing your lips, this time slowly in through the nose. Feel the air entering through the nostrils, entering through your throat, expanding your heart. Allow your belly to expand. Take in more air, sipping it in through the nose. You feel like you can't take in any more air, and then before you exhale, soften your shoulders. Relax the jaw without opening the mouth. Soften your lower back. And now, 3, 2, 1, part your lips, audibly exhale. Use the abdominal muscles to squeeze every last drop of breath out of you. So the abdomen draws in as you're exhaling here. When all the air is out of you, pause for 3, 2, 1, and now slowly begin to inhale and exhale out your nose. Allow your breath to become fluid, like water gently trickling down a creek, moving around rocks and branches and driftwood. Maybe even beginning to see a visual of this water flowing. Maybe it's an ocean, and your breath flows naturally with the waves rolling in and out. You're feeling that inhale and exhale, maybe even rocking your body. And now I want you to become aware of the darkness with your eyes closed, almost looking around within the dark space of your mind. And as you do so, I call forth concentric circles of light to surround us now. Pulsating colors. These colors will show up for each of us uniquely. An individualized color just for you. So within the darkness, find yourself in the center of of these circles of light, noticing their color without diving too deep into it, just being aware, curious. Oh, I'm not in the dark. There's actually light that surrounds me now. You feel very clear, very safe, very protected here as the breaths that you just took removed all of the stagnant, stale, stuck energy from your auric field. You cleared the miasma, and you're just very at peace here. Maybe if your palms were down earlier, you flip them open to receive as you welcome in these concentric circles of light, unending, circular, glowing, vibrant lights. And your breath is still flowing in and out. And you bring your awareness to your heart space. You invite the child within you to step forward within your heart and be a part of this circle casting today. They step forward, you notice what they're wearing, the age they are, their hair looks like, if they're wearing shoes or not. And you look into their eyes and you remember just how beautiful they are and all the magic they hold. And so you keep them here. You ask them to stay while we cast this beautiful circle for the collective group of us. As I call forth the guardians of the watchtowers of the north, south, east, and west. Guardian of the north, keeper of earth, I invoke the element and the spirit of earth. Keeper of the keys, she who holds the torch at the crossroads. She who stands at the crossroads with her protectors, her guardians. Black dogs, she arrives today, very fierce, standing here in the north. She's dressed all in black and very much showing up here today, letting us know that she is here in the underworld with us now. That she is the torch of light, and she's pointing up to the moon, that she is mother of witches. She is the full moon in the darkness. She's reminding us that the earth life journey is the underworld journey, and that she is always with you. She holds the keys around a ring. She highlights bringing the torch to every road that you can choose. And she holds keys out to you on this day. And she invites you to take the key that most calls to you. To look down at the shape of this key and to see that along the long stem of the key, that there's actually words written there. And the words written there are something that your soul wants you to manifest in the year to come. So look at these keys, and whether this is a seeing, actually visually seeing, or an inner knowing of a word that comes to you, or you're hearing it, whatever it is, accept that that word is a key. So it's going to unlock doors for you this year. And again, she's pointing to the moon. And she's reminding you that you are not alone. Mother of witches, keeper of the crossroads, will always illuminate the way, reminding you you are never alone. That everything you want and everything you seek is here for you. Bless us as we call your name. Hecate, 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 Hecate. Guardian of the northeast, keeper of the rising sun and the sacred wells, we call you forth this day. We see you sitting along the creek, which is partially frozen. The snow-covered fields and rocks, stones and pebbles, houses in the distance covered in snow. She, this deity, carries this bowl of water in front of her. And she offers this water and a candle as a symbol of hope within the darkness that the light will return. Bless us as we call your name. Brigid, 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 Brigid. Guardian of the East, keeper of air, I invoke the element and the spirits of air. She of 1,000 names, she of 1,000 spells, call you forth on this day to awaken the thousands of spells from the thousands of lives that we've lived. Today, this beautiful deity shows up in gold with red stitching on her gown. And she's pointing to the mind, reminding you, telling you that the mind is a tool, and you have a choice in how you will use this tool in the year to come. She's reminding you that the spells you cast are not only the words you speak, but the thoughts that you think. The thoughts that you think become the emotions that you feel, that fuel everything in your life to magnetize towards you or away from you. So she's reminding you of this tool, this spiritual tool that the mind is, and that how you use this tool is your choice. Very much bringing in the mental energy of air and reminding you to focus on yourself, on what you can change in your life, and to run with that. To use that thought process to fuel those emotions to radiate around you like the light of fire and air that feeds that fire to move you forward. She's awakening the angelic wings of the back of your heart, reminding you that your innocence is divine, it is inherent, and can never be taken from you. Bless us as we call your name, Isis, 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 Isis. Guardian of the Southeast, keeper of sovereignty, we invoke your presence here today in our sacred circle. Today, this sacred deity shows up in red with a message. The message is to not do things in your life because you feel that you have to. If someone asks you to stop while you're riding your horse, this fire horse, throughout the year, that if you don't want to stop, you don't have to stop. Just because you hear them doesn't mean you have to stop. And also, she's saying, don't feel like you have to predict what everyone around you is going to do before you make the decisions that you are going to do something. She's reminding you that you hold the power of sovereignty. And Hecate gave you the keys. So bless us as we call your name. Rhiannon, 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 Rhiannon. Guardian of the South, keeper of fire, I invoke the elements and spirit of fire. Queen of the Fae, she who knows love is the way. Ooh, she's coming in with a fierce boundary message today. Allow your righteous rage to be your fire that burns it all away. Allow your righteous rage at what has happened, the injustices in the world, to solidify your boundaries. Rage can invoke boundaries. Rage is part of the beauty of fire. There's nothing wrong with it. As long as you're allowing it to move and you're not keeping that rage locked within your heart, you're allowing it to be the catalyst that moves your passion forward, for the injustices inspire you to be completely opposite of what you are witnessing in the world. Bless us as we call your name. Anya, 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 Anya. Guardian of the Southwest, keeper of mystery, she who has walked the path of the witch, same path that us witches have walked for thousands of years. She walks the path of the feminine, the mystery of the feminine, mystery of the witch, power within. She awakens this power within you. She expands your heart. She carries a fierceness that casts out lower level energies by looking at you deeply in your eyes. Because lower level energies cannot remain in her presence. She's showing you that the same can be for you. You must first remove those lower level energies that you've trapped inside your body, in your knees, in your ankles, in your muscles, releasing what came before and taking with you only the lessons that will change your life. Bless us as we call your name. Mary Magdalene, Mary Magdalene, Mary Magdalene, Mary Magdalene. Guardian of the West, keeper of water, I invoke the element and the spirit of water to join us now. Keeper of the cauldron, keeper of alchemy, keeper of the power of emotion, of the energy being in motion in the water. She's highlighting that water is meant to move, that water carries compassion, it carries love, it carries grace, it carries rage, it carries all of your feelings, it carries the grief. But when we hold the water stagnant, she's showing me that the water will mold over. the darkness, and energies that do not align with the water grow within the water when we hold it stagnant. And this is why the element of water is emotion, energy in motion. Allow the energy to move through you, to clear the cauldrons of your body, so that you can channel in what you'll be working with and crafting with this next year. Bless us as we call your name, Ceridwen, 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 Ceridwen. Guardian of the Northwest, weaver of our sacred circle, queen of witches, queen of the oppressed, daughter of the moon, she who whispers the 13 powers of the witch within the dark night of the full moon. Weave this sacred circle sealed with your wisdom and knowledge that will guide us through these days, with all the knowledge and wisdom we learned from the lives before this one. Call forth the loving energy and presence of our Earth Mother from beneath us to rise up and support us as we surrender into her unending embrace. Deep into the earth, our body nestles warm within the soil that creates her, feeling the heat from the center of the earth that warms us. She holds us, she nurtures us, she continues to feed us. She also has her boundaries, and she shows them through earthquakes, through floods, through many different ways of her working with the elements. It's nothing against you, those of you that honor her, but this is her way of releasing the old. So in this moment, we surrender to her embrace and send her our love as we invoke our presence to her. She sends her love to us. We call forth the ancestors that walked this earth before us in all the areas of all the people who are in this circle casting today, for those indigenous spirits that once walked this earth. Call your presence forth if you walk with us in a good way. And we honor you and thank you for your presence. We call forth the ancestors of the lineages and bloodlines of those who cast this sacred circle with us today, who walk with us in a good way. We call forth the Fae, the elementals, the gnomes, who protect the earth realm, connect the flesh of the ancestors that live on in the soil, and breathe through the plants that grow and nourish us. We call forth the star brothers and sisters from above us to witness and watch over this sacred circle, pouring the wisdom down from the place where our soul was once a seed, calling forth the star systems from all the lineages, from all the different species of beings that exist on this planet in their highest form, to pour down wisdom, to be the change, to create change. The planet does not keep living in shadow, but it lives in the light. Bringing your hands to heart center, your left hand on your heart, your right hand over the left. Taking a breath for the child within you and calling forth the presence of your higher self, calling forth your I am presence, your soul, to take its seat at the throne, at the center of your heart, to to invite back in all the disembodied pieces of you to arrive here at center now, whole, fierce, brave, and as we do so, we lift this circle up, up, up to the 7th and 8th plane of consciousness, where divine knowing and miracles take place. As we acclimate to the 7th and 8th plane of consciousness, we cast this circle to be sealed now and to be open when we lie our heads down to sleep, but never broken, as the integrated wisdom of being in this level of consciousness will slowly dissipate as we sleep, and the wisdom we learned and gained will integrate in the week ahead. So taking this moment to integrate in this level of consciousness, this level of knowing, of feeling whole and centered, and knowing and casting forth that this circle will be open as you lie your head down to sleep tonight. For all who are casting this circle, their own sovereign circle that they are in the center of, the circle will be open but never broken and integrated in the week to come. This circle is now sealed, as above, so below, as within, so without. It is done, it is done, it is done, and so it is. Blessed be. Deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Deep breath in. As you exhale out, blink your eyes open. Arriving back here in the space, in the room you're in, taking in the colors of light, noticing how you feel different now than you felt at the beginning of casting this sacred circle. And I'm going to begin to shuffle my deck of cards here. And we're going to do a collective read as predictions for the year ahead. Please write any words you've seen on those keys that Hecate gave to you, whether it was a voice, whether it was a knowing, whether it was a seeing. You can type the color in the chat. And I'm going to be pulling for January. Orange, lots of orange, red, white, yellow, red. I seen like an opalescent, kind of light green. Bronze heart key. I saw pink and purple, gold. Do you think I'm ready? Yes, I know you are. Purple, indigo, orange, purple, green, a bronze skeleton key. So we're asking for the collective, the prediction for the energy for the month of January. And then we'll go month by month. Green, white, and black. Blessed be. Orange. All right, so again, this is not just for one person. This is a collective energy read. Just dark. Ooh, I like that. All right, we're gonna start with January, and this is an energy deck, so let's start with this one. All right. If you guys know me, you know I usually don't read reversed, but of course the first card came in reversed. And the second card, am I holding my deck upside down? I am. So we've got financial constraints flipped upside down and Ace of Wands. And so financial constraints upside down means that, you know, a lot of people probably have been experiencing in this last year a lot of abundance wounds coming up to be healed. And in this year, that this same wound is not going to be present. You're going to be taking different action steps so that that doesn't happen again. So the energy around not having enough last year is not coming into this year. This is about the old wounds around abundance, around having enough, around being enough, and feeling like last year almost like there was a stagnancy that you couldn't get your feet under your feet and move you forward. And this year you're actually going to take some action steps that are going to begin in this next month that are going to move you forward. So shadow aspect of this would be that you just sat in your sad soup around what happened last year and didn't focus on any of the actual good things that happened where you were shown that you were enough and where you were given the abundance you needed to get through whatever it was you were getting through. So you are going to be taking action from this moment forward because you're choosing, the first card that came out, to leave that in the past, because that's what that first card was. It's about leaving that card in the past. And instead of staying stagnant, you're going to actually move forward. You're going to make those changes around what you learned last year. So this is an energy of creation here this next month. And I really want you to focus on, even though it's Ace of Wands, which is a lot of forward movement while we're still in the dark. Remember, it was reversed. So a lot of us are going to feel like we want to stay stagnant here, but this means that there is the opportunity to release that shadow. So we are definitely releasing shadow around, are we safe on this planet? Are we, because the abundance blocks are very rooted in safety in the body, safety on the planet. And so there needs to be some shadow release here. The acknowledgement of the energy that you're drawing in is actually from your mental thoughts. But remembering, we got the financial constraints reversed. So in this month, that means we're done with the abundance blocks, right? We're done with what we did in the past. And with that Ace of Wands reversed, instead of running towards something right now or taking those action steps right now, in January, we're going to be focusing on releasing the shadow, noticing what kept us stuck last year so that we can move forward. Okay, now we're going to go to February. So you may be feeling a bit stagnant, but you're also at the same time going to feel like, okay, like this isn't going to be the same as it was last year. There's definitely that feeling around this. Like a lot of us are going to be acknowledging what felt off last year, all the old skin that we shed, but we're going to sit with that yet because the fire, the wands is reversed. And again, I don't like to read reverse cards. I usually don't because I just don't want to put that energy out there. But of course, those came reversed. And I feel like it's very fitting, a very good sign that financial constraints was upside down. And you may want to write some of these things down just so they can give you some guidance as we move through the months. So we're moving into February. Message for February. 10 of Pentacles. I like that energy. I like that card. Ten of Pentacles. So there is going to be some shift around things financially this year, you know, in your everyday life. The way the cards are going, from the last one being the financial constraints reversed, meaning they're gone, they're not coming into this year like they did last year, and then pulling Ten of Pentacles. And Pentacles is about your physical body, your everyday life, and 10, it's a 10 year. So that's why I said, like, it is a 1 year, but it's a 10 year. So I feel like this energy is very, very accurate, and that there's going to be a lot of new beginnings opening up for you in the financial area, the area of health and wellness, and also the mystery of light. There is a lot of incoming light, and it's going to be a grounded energy. So you're going to feel more grounded next month. Again, I'm pulling another reverse card here. So if last year felt like it was a freaking shit show, broken heart reversed, like, this means that the broken heart you feel like you've had in the past is no longer going to be playing a role in the actual blessings that are coming in February. So, I mean, we've already predicted that in February, the forward movement energy is going to be strong because of the year of the horse. So those cards kind of reflect that, those blessings coming in and opening up new opportunities and new potential in your everyday life. So remember, when we're talking about Pentacles, we're always talking about in our everyday life, in our life lived experience, as well as really a focus on money. Pentacles are always, you know, there's always that rooted feeling of having enough money, having enough in all areas of your life. And so that is your physical body as well. So inviting in the energy of health and wellness, and you're gonna feel more inspired in that month. Like, I'm okay, because, you know, I feel like over the last 5 years, there's been so much fear-based thinking that came from all that crap in 2020 that everybody's like, they're focusing on maybe the wrong things, and maybe the wounds of what came from 2020. And in February, you're really going to start expressing like your highest lived potential in your health, your wellness, your money, opportunity. Things are really going to start going well. So, all right. I'm going to go into March. I did this last year, and last year I was like, I don't know if I like doing month to month, but I felt like this morning we were supposed to go month to month. So I'm going to try to get through month to month and then tell you what I'm seeing for the year as a whole. For everyone, for collective, March. 3 of Pentacles. Okay, there's a lot of Pentacles energy, a lot of like everyday lived life. 3 of Pentacles is about gathering with community, with like-minded people, celebrating. So the energy is going to start to feel good. The community, the collective is really going to start to feel like they have some, I'm feeling like it's going to be like, we feel like we have, we're going to realize we have more power than we ever realized we had before. And that power comes from us rising up together, coming together. So I really like that card for March, because we're going to feel this collective energy with everyone, where we're like, we are doing this. We are going to be the change. We have more power. That's what I keep hearing. We have more power than we realize. So gathering with communities, celebrations is going to be important, feeling like you're part of the community. And remember, if you're a witch, like, we're here for every community that feels like they've been othered or are the underdogs. So rise up with the communities and around that are pushed down and trying to be oppressed, because together we can move mountains. The 3 of Pentacles is a really, really great card for March. Action. I love it. So there's gonna be in March this energy of you taking action for you to create those communities. You're gonna start doing things different. Now the cool thing about this card is that there's this black horse behind the white horse. So the shadow is on the heels of the black horse. Whenever this card comes up, I always point this out. It's like, we know where we came from. And that is actually what is propelling us forward. It's like, instead of being disempowered by our past and remaining in that state of victimhood, we are running with our light. We are like, I got it. I got the message. I don't remain the victim of my life unless I choose to. And so the fact that we are moving into that fire horse energy, and we pulled the action card here, which is all about that, like running like the horse. And what you're running with is your community, with those that are like-minded. And so I feel like March is going to just really be this beautiful energy of change. Like, you're going to feel exhilarated, like there is hope. There is this feeling of hope that is coming into the collective in March. So I love that. All right, let's move to April. So in April, my kitty's sitting here with my cards on this chair. My hands are being a little weird today. Another Pentacles energy, King of Pentacles. So many people, so I pulled King of Pentacles and Journey. Now, with these two cards together, what I'm feeling is that there is actually a lot of potential for people to start making changes in career, in the home they live, the places they live, or taking trips for their career. There's going to be this real big energy of specifically people who feel that leadership energy within them. So there is a lot of Aries energy coming into this year, and April is Aries season. And so I feel like that's, you know, King of Pentacles is about that earth energy, but it's also a masculine energy. So it's going to be this masculine energy in you, and Aries at its highest expression during April, during this season, is like protector of the innocent. I actually learned something recently that I didn't know. Mars and Aries actually have, they're the same god in mythology. And as far as SA, which in male deities, I usually don't focus on them because every story has that. Mars and Aries actually has, there may be one case, but that case is up for debate. And so there's none or one. And in its highest expression, Aries and Mars, actually somebody was attacking, getting ready to SA, his daughter, and he actually gets furious and goes and kills the person that is attacking his daughter. And so I feel like that energy, the highest expression of Aries, is going to be coming in April. There's going to be a lot of leadership energy awakening in people and making them feel like they're ready to take action on things that they haven't been ready to take action on in their everyday life. They're going to be grounded though. So even though it's that Aries energy in April, the masculine energy is going to make you feel safe to move, to make that change, to move from your home, to move from the city you live in, to make that career change, or to take that trip connected to your career in some way. So there's going to be definitely some travel. It's like I'm speaking to you. I am speaking to you. I'm speaking to everyone. And that is going to be April. So remember that leadership energy, but it's a grounded leadership energy, and highest form expression, Aries and Mars energy. So it's going to come from that like protective energy. So now we're looking at May. What's going to happen in May? What can we expect as a collective in May? So I feel like for the collective of us, things are going to be changing in May. So something that we have hoped or wished for is going, and it's going to be a contractual thing. So there's going to be something that changes for the collective and for us individually. There's going to be a knowing when this comes forward, like, oh, I've been feeling this coming in, like people are going to be awakening to what they've been blinded to, and there's going to be almost like a responsibility taken for everything that's been swept under the rug. So this can be collectively and in your life individually, but it also feels like there's going to be action taken on this. It's not just going to be one of those energies of like, oh, I didn't see this, and then you kind of just stand there frozen. It's going to be like, oh, we didn't see this, but we're done with this kind of energy. And so during this time, you need to be looking in May, looking for anything that is hidden around any contracts that you're signing, anything that you're making a deal on or making change on, and just being wide awake for that. Allow your intuition to be your guide. That's going to be really, really important. So now we're looking at June. Yeah, it feels like there's going to be a lot of feminine energy that's rising up in May. I'm not sure exactly. I'm not getting a solid on what that's going to be, and I don't want to be here all day, so I don't want to keep pulling to get more information. Maybe I should. More information on May, more information on May, more information on May, more information on May. Okay. Yeah, it's like there's this energy of like really amazing things coming into this year. Like, I feel like there's going to be a lot of good things happening, but there's still like, even though we shed that skin last year, right? Any shedding that we're going to do over this year is going to be almost, it's going to feel like you're choosing it rather than like that wood snake energy where you're like, you're shedding all at once and it's like skin's being ripped off you and you're like, do I really want to do this? It's gonna feel like this solid yes. I need to do this because this is everything I ever wanted. So I feel like that energy is still gonna be a positive energy. A lot of wishes are gonna be manifesting, and you just need to keep your eyes open so you're aware of dotting the I's and crossing the T's. Okay, June, we're gonna feel like very interesting. We're pulling 10 of Pentacles again. So there's gonna be, and the Hanged Man. So the Hanged Man actually is this card of choosing to flip yourself upside down and look at everything differently, to get a different perspective and kind of hanging out there. And that's because of 10 of Pentacles. Like, there's a lot coming in for us in our everyday lives, but there's gonna be a need, and it's summer. You're not gonna feel like you wanna be hanging out with the Hanged Man in summer, but for some reason, you're gonna need to turn inward and really contemplate how you're gonna move forward in your everyday life. And with the Ten of Pentacles also coming out there, I think it's a reminder that this is a good thing that you're flipped upside down. It isn't going to feel like a negative thing. But there is, even though we're running with the fire horse, you're going to take a little bit of a pause there and step back and get a broader view of what's going on in the world around you. And this is going to be needed for all of us. So allow yourself to sit in that energy for a moment when it hits you. I think that's interesting that that came in June, because summer solstice is usually a very moving energy, right? So we're still looking at June, pulling that contract again. So the contract card we pulled in May, we're pulling it again in June. So we're still going to be in that energy of things that are being told to us. So as a collective, there's going to be information coming out, and we need to make sure that we are really dotting our I's, crossing our T's, reading the fine lines. And what that means collectively is when things are coming out in the news, you don't need to believe the first thing that you're seeing. Don't be blind to what is moving or being exposed out in the collective. Make sure you are really like taking your time to see the fine print, to see what's kind of hidden beneath. That's going to be an important thing, and that's why I'm feeling like we pulled that Hangman card, is because something's going to be moving really fast and something good's going to be coming in, but we need to make sure that we're really looking for truth within that. And then remembering with the Magician card is that we are the alchemists of our own life. So whatever is being brought up to the surface in May and June, remember, you can use that for your highest good. So we are master alchemizers. And I feel like that's where the energy of the beginning of the year and this building is coming from, is because there's a building of we're becoming masters of seeing the shadow and transforming that shadow into our greatest strength, into our light. We're gonna stop seeing people projecting so much, and they're gonna take their power back. They're gonna start realizing they are sovereign, like they are the sovereign creators of their life. But whatever's going to be happening in the collective in May, June, is really going to be bringing that in to where you need to pause, think about it, and then what you're ultimately going to come to is that you can take this and use it for your highest and best good. So keep that in mind. All right, so we're moving to July. My voice is getting tired. July. Ooh, Queen of Wands in July. I like it. So the feminine rising up, feminine leadership. Yes, for the Leo energy. I love it. Doesn't she even look like a Leo? She totally carries that energy. So the lioness energy. Queen of Wands. So, got Queen of Wands. And we've got the attachment card here. Pull one more from this deck. Question, the star. Okay, I'm liking this. Okay, so there's going to be a focus on, you know what it feels like with that? It feels like there is a balancing happening this year. So we've got Queen of Wands here. We had King of Pentacles in April. So I'm feeling that there is this shift where we are starting as a collective to be more balanced within our masculine and our feminine. And the masculine is starting to be a more rooted, grounded, nurturing energy. And the feminine is having the safety and the ability to rise up. And this card, you know, it's about shining. It's about that fire energy coming out. And then I pulled the star card, and the star card is about taking, like, when I interpret this card here, you see she's got a bowl above her head, and see the moon above her head, and then it's like water pouring out over her head. And this is what this card is about. It's about like taking all of that intuitive wisdom and pouring it out into the world. So I feel like with Queen of Wands and Star, we are going to see a lot of women, female leaders rising up, or, you know, people that are women, feminine identified. Now the shadow of what's going to be happening here is attachment to ego. So we need to keep in mind that whatever it is that we are drawn to do, that it's not coming from a place of, I want more material wealth. Material wealth may come along with it, and it's okay to want material wealth to come along with things, but that shouldn't be your focus. And don't worry so much about what people think of you. So July, you're going to kind of have that shadow come in where it's like, because you're going to be, it feels like energy of putting yourself out there, like, this is who I am and this is where I shine. But you may also have that that shadow aspect come up where you're more worried about how other people see you or are perceiving you. And it's like, don't worry about how people are perceiving you. The wisdom that is pouring in you and shining out of you will always be the right choice, will always be what needs to be leading the way. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of forward movement for different feminine leadership, and there's going to be a lot of protection energy here as well. So yeah, I feel like we're going to have a little bit of maybe a roller coaster feeling mid-year, where it's like the energy is going to come down a little bit, and then we're going to start running uphill again in July. So it's going to feel like, yes, I'm ready. Let's go. We're doing this. And the voices of the feminine and those feminine abilities, like nurturing, taking action on those things, is really, it's almost like there's going to be no choice for you, because the choice to remain the same is going to feel like it's going to cost you more than breaking out of your shell and stopping worrying about what people think of you. So it's like that breaking out of your shell and just shining, even though it's hard. Because sometimes with the star card, even though you're shining and you're pouring that wisdom forth from your channel, it's not always an easy thing to do. Okay, August. Learning some emotional lessons. So from whatever has been going on all year, it's leading us to this point in August, where we're learning some lessons around mental energy, the way we think, what we are manifesting into the world with our thoughts. And it's going to be like an emotional lessons around, gosh, that feels like intuition and releasing the mental blocks that keep us from trusting our intuition. So there's going to be a lot of intuitive messages coming in August, and you need to keep in mind that you choose the direction that you're going by what you think you can do and what you think you can't do. And so you're going to choose to listen to the voice of your intuition every time in August. Every time. Remember this message. The lessons will be a little rocky in August if you are not listening to your intuition. The Magician. So remember, again, we're pulling these same cards. This is going to be a theme this year, is remembering you are the alchemist of your life. That you are creating your life. You are not a victim to your life. And I feel like that's where a lot of that forward movement's going to come from, is from that inner trust within yourself. don't typically do this way, and so. All right, September. Hi, Katie. All right. Is this helpful for anyone? I'm hoping it's helpful. I'm hoping it's hitting. Well, we just did August, so this is September, September. Nine of Cups. September feels like it's going to be good. We've got Nine of Cups. And the Heart card. So there's going to be a lot of, I like this for September. The collective's going to start feeling more heart-centered. And feeling like, and your birthday's in September, beautiful. You're gonna be feeling more heart-centered, like you wanna return to your heart to remember what it is that your hopes, wishes, and dreams are. And I feel like this year it's a building energy of this, is remembering the power that we actually hold within our heart. And it's not like just because we're with the fire horse this year that it's not going to be filled with lessons, because it is going to be filled with lessons. You're still going to have some highs and some lows, but there's going to be some massive shifting and change. And so, you know, we felt a lot of that like snake energy last year, that was the shedding, the releasing, the constant letting go. And remember that this year, like the fire has that way of doing that more abruptly. It's not as grounded. And so this energy is going to come in, it's going to feel rather soothing and a little less like at the beginning of the year, there may be some things that are getting burned away, that are changing, that are shifting. And we're going to be taking action on new things, but it's going to, like, you're going to feel this energy of collective love, of energy. Like, you know, do you ever have those times in your life where you're like, if I could be anyone, I would be me? That's what September is going to feel like. You're just going to be filled with a lot of hope, and you're going to realize that that child within you, like, they can make those wishes come true, and those wishes actually manifest into form. Okay, so we're moving into October. And I just remembered something. I think it's September, Practical Magic 2 comes out. And in October, our Practical Magic retreat happens. So I feel like in September, that energy of feeling like anything is possible and filled with love partially is going to come for us witches, because the Practical Magic movie comes out. And I think that's going to give us this, like, I believe in myself energy. So if you haven't signed up for Practical Magic, sign up, because I think after you see that movie, you're going to wish you signed up, because it's going to be, I want to gather with my witches for midnight margaritas. Oh, October, we have the Justice card. I can't show that card. I shouldn't have showed that card. I'm not going to get in trouble for that. I'm not going to show that card anymore, because once I showed that card and it gave me a thing for nudity. And so I don't want to show that card, but it's the Justice card. So I'm liking that. I'm hoping that which way are my cards going here? I'm hoping that what that Justice, I'm really feeling like that Justice card is coming from, so just that one card flipped. Yes. Okay. I'm feeling like the Justice card in October, there could be some things that are really good happening for us as a whole. but also individually. And it's interesting that justice shows up with this card here. I'll put my hand over this lady because it shows in the justice card the scales of balance. And this very much feels like Libra energy. So the Libra energy, like justice being brought forth, that sounds like a good thing to me. Like a lot of things need to have some justice brought around it, and it feels like Leo season is going to bring that in. We're going to be focusing more on relationships also as well with the Libra energy and justice. So bringing balance to our relationships. But I feel like justice is a really good card. It's like this card where everything that's been out of balance has the possibility of coming back into balance. And then we have the sun. So the sun is where everything shines. I feel like there's a lot of opportunity for feeling really good this year, for things coming into balance, even though it's going to be like, you know, there's going to be those moments where things are burning away and that's going to feel like, oh, that's a lot. But, you know, it's gonna be like the fire that's lit under your ass is what's gonna, it's like that passion that's just gonna keep you moving through this year, where last year it was like the stagnancy, where I feel like everyone was just exhausted and tired, and that's gonna lift. So one more card for October. The solar plexus. So focusing on self-belief in October, and I feel like this energy of the sun and justice is going to come from this inner belief in ourself as a collective. Like you're going to start realizing that you are more powerful than you realized. It seems like that's going to be a theme this year, really. That's what the solar plexus is about. It's also about healing the masculine wound, the father archetype wound and energies. So I feel like the justice is going to come around that masculine archetype and patriarchal energy that we don't like, and trusting more of the energy of the sun, of what nurtures us and grows us. And so I feel like the balance is going to come within the masculine, where in July I felt like the feminine energy was going to be really strong for the collective. However, when we have both, so we've got justice under the solar plexus and under the sun, and so it's like there's this balancing that's happening within the masculine. So for me, the third chakra always represents that wound connected to the father, connected to the patriarchy. And then the sun is like, for me, it's like that's the only God I know. And so that feels like what people are going to be shifting to, is there's going to be this justice around the masculine energy that's had leadership for far too long. So that feels really good in October. Like we're going to be balancing some things out. Justice is going to be brought. November. If you have not followed me, please go follow me. You've watched live for 100 minutes. Thank you. Thank you guys for staying on here. I've been on here for 3 hours. Thank you to my moderators who've been on here, my Coven members. I love you guys. I usually only go 2 hours. I'm tired. November. Ooh. Okay, November's gonna bring in some interesting energy, you guys. So we're gonna feel like maybe October's gonna feel up, like there's a change within the masculine energy. There's gonna be justice brought. However, so the first card I pulled for November is envy. Second card I pulled is the devil. Now, the way I look at the devil card is very different than a lot of people, but the envy is looking at the outside world. So you might get to the end of the year and look around and start focusing on what everyone else has instead of focusing on how far you've come this year. Now, the devil card is highlighting the ancestral wounds, the way we shackle ourselves and the way that we create our own demons in our lives. So there's going to be some tumultuous, why can't I say that word? The energy is going to feel different in November for sure. So maybe take a breath, be grounded, keep your heart centered in November, because it feels like whatever happens in October, even though it's bringing justice around that masculine energy, it's gonna trigger some wounds in a lot of people, and it's gonna trigger something from it's gonna trigger the ancestral wounds. So keep that in mind. Like, look at what you're really feeling in that month and what you're learning from what's coming up within you. So November is going to be interesting. I want to keep that in mind for myself. December next year. You know, oftentimes we look at that ancestral healing of the Devil card. I had to work with that card for a while, a couple years back, and it was like no matter what I did, it just kept coming up. And it was because I needed to create boundaries, actually. And so keep that in mind for November, because when I was working with that card, the ancestral wound that I was clearing was the inability to create boundaries for myself that were healthy. And so, you know, because that was the wound that I healed when I worked with the Devil card, I'm going to say that there's something around that, like being able to not be enmeshed with the outside world, that it's okay to be sovereign, to be walking your own path, to be talking your own talk and living your own life. Like, don't look too much outward at what everyone else has. Because if you focus on getting what everyone else has in your life, all of your life, you'll never be happy. Because even though it might look like a pretty picture, it's not coming from in your heart. It's not coming from what you actually have a passion and desire for. And really, envy is, when we have envy for other people, that's like we want what they have so much that we start hating them, right? And we don't want to get in that place. And so we want to focus on what it is we want to do and who we want to be and what we're learning. And so November should be interesting. I'm wondering how that's going to show up. Collective envy. But it's definitely tied to the ancestral wounds. It's definitely tied to us not realizing we have bound ourselves. So pay attention. Like, in anything that feels tumultuous, I can't say that word. Remember, like, you aren't stuck there. In the Devil card, the chains are loose. You can take them off at any time. Ooh. Okay, December feels like a reckoning. So these are the cards I got. Judgment, Page of Wands. This is actually my favorite card in the deck. One of my favorite cards, if not the favorite card. So I feel like December is actually, there's gonna be this reckoning. So the energy is gonna shift from that whatever we are learning in November, we're gonna get our feet underneath us, and it's gonna be like, fuck no. Like, there's gonna be this great reckoning. It feels like a powerful energy in December that's gonna come in. And yeah, I'm feeling like, I'm not knowing if this is, I feel like because I'm reading this, let me pull this to be sure, because I'm wanting to say, like, it's either there's a feminine or a woman, a woman's voice. Someone's gonna help this awakening or this reckoning within us. This Queen of Pentacles energy is one of the most powerful energies. Like, she's grounded in every way. She's open, intuitively connected. And that this card may just be speaking to the reckoning that's going to happen because of the feminine being so wide awake at the end of this year. That the reckoning is that things can't continue or they're changing. It just feels like there's going to be a massive change of some sort within this year that's going to be solidified in December. And we're going to realize that there is so much opportunity. Like, it's going to be this energy of, it's going to be the mixed energy. So you're going to still have some lingering thoughts and feelings from what you were releasing from looking too far out. But you also are going to realize that if you don't realize there's life beyond your family and your home, that you're always going to remain feeling trapped. And so there's going to be this feeling of like, okay, what am I going to do? What is next? Because we ran through this entire year really fast. And so I'm going to remind you to stay present. Like, even though the year is going to move really fast and it's going to feel like the lessons that are here this year, they kind of come in and slap you upside the head, and as quick as they come in, they're going to go out. It's going to leave you with this feeling of like, what the hell just happened? And so remember to stay present with every moment. So I'm feeling into the cards that came out and what I feel as a whole for this year. This is going to be a year of reckoning, a year of judgment, a year of justice. And so I feel like there's going to be a lot of shifts and changes, and things are going to happen really quick. And I think a lot of people are looking at that it's only going to be a good year. And I feel like that's not exactly true. Like, it's not only going to be good things that are happening this year. You know, there is the aspect of the fire that it burns things away in an instant. And so keep in mind, because in these cards, there was a lot of messages around grounding, around making new financial decisions for yourself and making new choices for yourself, but remaining grounded, like that King of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles, like that's leadership that is grounded. Is that coming from the collective, or is that what's bringing in? And I feel like that's it. That's what's demanding this reckoning, the justice and the judgment and all of this. So I feel like woven within this year, there's going to be a lot of old stuff that's burning away and leaving, and then a lot of new opportunities opening up. And you need to take those opportunities. You need to take those chances. But also remember, mid-year, you're going to need to flip yourself upside down and look at things differently. Don't just take what we're seeing at first glance, what you see or what you hear. Make sure that you're kind of weaving in and being the detective and looking for that truth, seeking that truth. You know, I call my spiritual business Mystic Witch, and I put the word mystic in front of witch because the only thing the mystic knows is they know nothing at all. And so they're on this continuous search for truth. And so that's what that means for me in that name, is that you are a witch that is continuously seeking truth and justice. Yeah, I need to drink some water. Anyway, so I usually do not go live for 3 hours, but Kitty, you guys, this cat of mine, he's like, you are done, you are done, you are done. Do you guys have any questions for me? My cat. Ow, he scratched me, Kitty. Meow. Yeah. He's a nut. Orange cats are spoiled. Thank you. Do you guys have any questions before I go? Thank you for being here today. This live went on and on and on. All right. I'm going to say goodbye. Have you guys followed me? If you have not followed me, go follow me. If you've not signed up for Practical Magic Retreat, you got to sign up for that one. It's going to be so fun. Your cat called you in. Did you call Darcy in? Thank you for the gifts, you guys. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for being here, being part of the community. Thank you, Cher. Haley, you've been here all 3 hours too. Thank you, Marjorie, for being my moderator. And I will be live again next week, Sunday morning, as far as I know. So please go check out my work. There is a link in my bio. Now I'm probably gonna get kicked off because I said those words, but go check out all my offerings. And I love you so much. I hope you have a beautiful Sunday, and I'll see you next week.